A very warm welcome to StudyIQ. I'm Prashant Mauni. The date today is 15th September 2017. Day is Friday. I'll take you through what is important in PIB. But before moving ahead, I will take you through, please allow me to introduce to our pen drive and tablet courses. Now, if you are preparing for SSC, bank, UPSC or other state level exams, then this pen drive and tablet courses will help you immensely. The best thing about them is that the whole of this pen drive, we have different tablet and pen drive courses for all these exams, and they are designed by best faculties of our country. If you have any question or queries, if you have any further doubts, then you can feel free to give us a call on this number, and you can also use our studyiq.com website on which you will find chat support as well. So let's see what we have got important, starting with Defense Ministry. And this is coming, this is basically about troll system that is developed by DRDO. One of the most important thing about this thing is that it is indigenously developed. I will explain to you a little bit the benefits about indigenous development of this sort of things, but let's understand what it is all about. Now, as you can see on the screen, a photo of a vehicle which is quite unusual in its the way it looks. It is quite something outstanding, isn't it? What it does is basically cleans the minefield area. You know, this sort of things do take place during the wartime. The enemies, they do implant or they do hide this sort of mines underground, and many times if you don't know where it is or where they are implanted, then this may cause you a huge damage. We have seen this sort of things during in some Naxal areas as well. So basically, whenever you find this vehicle, if this vehicle is going anywhere, then the track that it left behind is clean and safe for the army personnel. Now, coming back to indigenous development, one of the most important thing is that, see dear friends, that we know we have been dealing with technology and we are purchasing many important items from different countries, right? We are having a chat with France regarding planes, then we are buying many missiles and many different vehicles, right? From Russia, from USA, from Japan. I can go on and on. We have from Sweden as well, etc. Anyways, the main thing here is that if we are not developing this sort of technologies indigenously, then we will never be able to become a self-reliant nation. We have to pay out the money, right? Hard-earned money has to be given away. We have to throw it away. And the shame is that we have all the capabilities, right? We are a country, we have finest engineers over here, we have finest scientists as well, so we can do all these things. The other important thing is that, see, this sort of questions, you won't find a question on what is troll roller in your prelims, right? You won't find this sort of questions in your mains examination as well, that they will ask you to explain troll system. No. The reason why this thing is important, because first of all, Defense Ministry is one of the most important ministries. The second thing is that we have just got a new lady who is looking after Defense Ministry. The third thing is that when we talk about, if you observe the news that is going on around Defense Ministry, then you will find that it is about technological upgradation, it is about indigenous development. These are the things, right, that is always surrounded around Defense Ministry. So there are high chances that you would be asked a question that explain or how India can become sustainable, how India can become self-reliant in defense system or when it comes to defense or protecting our country, etc. So these are the examples that you can use. By adding this example, it will add more weight to your answer. Another item again from Defense Ministry, it is about Astra. This is basically a sort of a missile. It is a beyond visual range air-to-air missile, and this has been successfully conducted, and it has achieved all the targets, all the technical targets. If you are preparing for defense sort of related exams, then you should go through all this, like pilotless target aircrafts and this nitty-gritties of these things. But if you are preparing for civil services, then for you, if you just focus on what is BV RAM, that's fine, it's enough. Other important items, as I told you, is indigenous and how we can become self-reliant, etc., etc. Now, another important item that you can add to the things that we have discussed just now is regarding the increasing participation of private industries. This is very beneficial. One of the most important benefit that I see is that it will stop the brain drain, right? What brain drain basically means, that we know that many scientists, engineers, it used to take place in the past, it is happening now as well, but the rate has been dropping. They used to go to different countries like Germany, UK, USA, and they have studied, they have all the talents and expertise, but now they would be working for another country. So this is basically brain drain for India, and it is brain gain for those countries. So when we set up this when private industries will come up, when they will set up new businesses, and when they will throw this challenging task to youngsters, then this will stop them from looking for other prospects in other countries. This will keep them over here, and all the things that they will produce or the value they will add will be utilized by our country, and this will help us in making our country more secure. The other thing is that any private industry, right, when you have private industry taking part in this sort of things, so far we know that it was only DRDO and Hull and all these organizations which are run by government. So when private industries are coming out, or when they are becoming players in this sector, then they will give tough competition to the government, and this tough competition basically will be beneficial for the whole nation, isn't it? So these are two important things from these two items. Moving on to another item, this is related with coal. Now, very important for your prelims examination, please keep this full form in your mind. Shakti. Shakti stands for Scheme for Harnessing and Allocating Koila Transparently in India. Very important. Please note it down. Of course, you will get this PDF, this lecture slide as a PDF. So keep this. Do keep on revising this thing, because after a couple of days you might forget it. So Shakti stands for coal. It is pertaining to coal industry, and one of the main, let me give you a small overview on it, so that will help you to understand why government came out with this scheme. It was decided on May 2017. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs decided to launch this scheme, and one of the main reason is that earlier what used to happen, say for example, if you are a thermal power plant company, if you are producing power in Rajasthan, then of course you need coal as a raw material to conduct all sort of flames, and you need coal as a product, right, for your energy requirement, and that's how you will produce power for the whole state or any district, whatever. Now the thing is, earlier what used to happen, that if you need coal, then the coal would be supplied by government, and there was a long channel, right? So finally when coal will reach you, even if the coal is just produced a couple of districts away from your thermal power plant, then as well the transportation cost would be higher, and it would take extra time as well. So it was time consuming, and it was costing. The raw material was a bit expensive because of transportation cost. So now after coming this scheme, the private players can get the coal directly from the place that it is produced, by the nearest place possible, right? So this will reduce time, and this will reduce cost, and it will eventually reduce the price of electricity production, and this will benefit consumers. So this is win-win situation for everyone. This is one of the main reason why government came out with Shakti. Now coal is one of the most important area, and I'm providing you a small analysis on this thing. Now see, coal is India's primary source of energy, and most of the energy that we produce is from coal. We are using coal. We know that it is not eco-friendly, but the thing is, we have to bring out huge amount of our population from poverty and disease, and because of that we need energy for everything, isn't it? Without electricity, we have talked about it, you cannot run the show. So for producing it, coal is the best thing at present. We are also on the sideline, we are also trying to increase the renewable source of energy as well, the share of renewable source of energy, but we cannot get rid of coal at present. Anyways, now the thing is, so far what used to happen is that coal was dealt by only government companies, right? Public sector. We know very well how government companies work. They are a bit lethargic, or they are a bit slow in dealings. So this was not benefiting. It was detrimental for the power sector generation, and that was one of the main reasons. Like many places, they still do not have electricity access, like 24/7 electricity is not available, because many times you find that this sort of lethargic way of working of public sector. Now what government did is it has allowed the private companies, right, the private companies who are engaged in the generation of electricity, these private companies can take part in the auction of coal mining, but the problem here is that, see, these companies are not expert in mining, they are expert in electricity generation. So the best thing we can do is we should open the doors for those companies who are full-fledged mining companies. If we allow them, then their expertise can be utilized, so to utilize in this sector, in mining sector, and with this I believe that the coal production would be of more higher quality. The other thing is that the cost will come down, and when we use technology, when we attract this company, it will create jobs, and these are all the other good side effects of these companies. But this electricity generation company will be also stress free. They can focus on their core area, they can focus on how to produce more effective or more efficient, how they can operate their power plants more efficiently. This would be their sole focus rather than focusing on mining. So this is a thing that government should think about, right? They should open up the competition, and with the competition and with the introduction of new technology, we will find that the best will come out, and this would be beneficial for the whole country. We would be able to achieve the dream of 24/7 electricity for each and every single person of our country. This would help us a lot in New India as well, right? Moving on to another item, it is about Corporate Affairs Ministry. Now Corporate Affairs Ministry and Central Board of Direct Tax both have shaken hand with each other, as you can see on the picture here as well. This will help you a little bit to understand. Now what they have agreed on, or the memorandum of understanding, is basically about automatic and regular exchange of information. And why they are going to share this information? Of course, to curb shell companies. What shell company is? Shell company basically means that you are saying that I am a tourist company, we are located in Mauritius, but in reality you are a front company, you are a setup by another company or another business person who is say for example dealing with some other things, right? So he will use this shell company for money laundering. Money laundering basically means, when you know that when your shirt or your pant or your blazers, when they get dirty, if they have any sort of dent on it, then you send it to the laundry services, isn't it? And they will clean it up and they will give it to you. So in the same way, money laundering is about turning black money into white. So that's why this term is used, laundering. So shell companies, to curb them, automatic information. And automatic is important because every time you cannot go there and ask them, can you give me information of Mr. A or B or C or etc etc. These things would be automatic, so the process will be fast as well. And they will share PAN numbers, income tax returns, audit reports, and statements of financial transactions received from banks relating to corporate. So this way they are going to curb black money and money laundering, and they will also tackle with shell companies. Another item regarding higher education, very important items. If you go through your past papers, then you will find that every year you have been asked questions on education. So this one is important as well. We will try to find out what are the flaws in our institutions and what are the things that we can improve. Some basic points I'm going to discuss with you guys. Now there are two global index, right? Two global index have recently displayed uncomfortable truth about India's premier institutes of higher learning. One is coming from Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2018, and in this index no Indian institute made it to top 200. This is very shameful. The other thing is that several dropped out of their ranking bands of the year before. So earlier, if they used to have, say for example, IIS Bangalore, it used to be in the category of 201 to 250, but now it is somewhere between 251 to 300 ranking. So this is shameful. Same thing applies to IIT Madras and IIT Delhi as well. Their ranks have dropped as well. Now the another report that is coming from Quacquarelli-Simons Graduate Employability Rankings 2018, and this again shows sharp drop by 4 out of 8 institutes. IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi are figuring in top 200. See, these two institutions are different, and their way or the things or the tools they have used for research would be different. The methodology would be different. So the ranking would be a little bit different. The outcome would be a little bit different when we compare both the reports. But the main thing is that we don't find our institutions in top 10 or top 50, right? So there is no point in fighting about we are in 200 or 250. It doesn't really matter. The thing is that we are far behind when it comes to global institutions. And this, we are talking about a country who was pioneer in university education, Nalanda and Takshashila, isn't it? And this is our situation after this many years. But the thing is that one of the main reason why we find this sort of thing is lack of quality, and we will come to that as well. But if we go through the survey of aspiring minds, now today we know that the country is celebrating Engineering Day, and this report is very sad. This survey is saying that, or it is indicating that 80% of more than 1 lakh engineering students that graduate in India each year are unemployable. This is a very serious thing, and this is not something that took place in last couple of days. This is happening from many decades. When I say unemployable, that means they have degree. If you ask them about some basic theories or some theories regarding their academic education, then they would be able to demonstrate that thing to you, right, in writing or in verbal conversation. But when it comes to practical implementation, then you find them, they don't have that bent of mind. The other thing is that soft skills, interpersonal skills and soft skills, which are very important, is generally speaking not that high in our graduates. And this is one of the main reason why multinational companies, you find, particularly those companies who are dealing in foreign countries, you find that I'm not talking about everyone. Of course, we have some good examples, but these good examples are rare examples, right? Indian pass outs or the students from graduates from Indian institutions are not doing that well, because we are emphasizing more on rote learning and bookish knowledge. That is one of the main reasons. The other thing is that we have huge amount of fake degrees and universities in our country, and this is something I'm sure you might have heard, or you know about this thing. This is not something that, oh, is this things happening in our country? Yes, we know it. This do take place. Out of 31,000 plus higher education institutions, 4,532 are only accredited. Imagine rest of them, nearly we are talking about some 25,000 higher education institutions. They don't have even enough, they are not approved as well, isn't it? So what do you expect? And this all things are taking place at the time when China and Singapore are doing exceptionally well in this area. And the reason why they are doing it, or they are excelling in this area, is because both countries, China and Singapore, their higher education ecosystem is autonomous. That means government will not interfere with it. It is the people who are running the show. It is the chancellors and the professors and the lecturers. They will decide what is best for the students, because they are the ones who have practical knowledge as well about what is happening in the society, what is happening in the business environment. They would be in touch with all the great institutions around the world. They would be in touch with all the big companies and small and medium companies. They know what is going on, etc., etc. And that's the reason government is giving them a free hand, because these are the people who know best about what students, what are the needs of the students. The other thing is that their regulations is strict. You cannot ask someone or call them and say that my nephew is in your college, so please give him some extra credit. No, this does not take place. They are very strict. And the other thing is that they attract top-notch foreign academics. Best people around the world are hired in these places of Singapore and China, and this is the reason why they are excelling. I was talking about quality, isn't it? This is the thing, and this thing is visible when we talk about the patents that is filed by Chinese entrepreneurs, and at present the National University of Singapore is one of the go-to institution for the academics around the world. The problem with our country is that it is not that this government is not doing anything about it. It is not the previous government. This has been going on for the longest period of time, and one of the main reason is that whenever we are asking any foreign institution to come and work in our country, the problem is that we ask them to do it in such a way that they don't earn any sort of profit. We are asking them that give your expertise but don't expect anything out of it. You won't make money out of it. So this is one of the things that is not attracting foreign institution. The other thing is that we are also not investing in it, right, as we should. When I say we, I mean to say government. The other thing is that there are so many complex local regulations and political interference in appointments, in syllabus, and student politics. These are the things that are keeping foreign experts away from our country. So basically what we have to do is we have to do this and we have to stop this. That's the solution. That's the answer for how to improve your higher education system in our country. Moving on to another item, it is about Japan and India. I'm going to provide you a small summary in the next 3 to 4 minutes. I'll try my level best to do it in 3 to 4 minutes. Now the thing is, because this summit is over, so it's better to go through all the important items. It's better to have a bird's eye view on this topic. So from last 3 years, the relationship has gone up drastically, right? It has rocketed, you can say. And it's not that earlier we were not sharing good relations. From last many years we are having good relations with Japan. It is there are two common things between both the countries are that both are major economies and both are democracies of Asia, and both can tackle together. If both are working in unison, then they can tackle the high-handedness of China. We know how China is dealing in South China Sea. And now I know many of you would be complaining that why I'm not providing the map of South China Sea, but the thing is that I have already provided you maps of South China Sea earlier. So for now what I expect from you guys is that when I talk about South China Sea, there should be a crystal clear image in your mind, and if it is not forming, that means that you have not invested enough time that you should have with South China Sea when the map or picture was provided in previous lectures. So please fill this gap. If you don't know where South China Sea is, then do locate it. What China has done is it has maximum area of South China Sea. It is claiming that it has China is saying that it is within their domain, right? It is their property, and this is impacting the freedom of navigation both in terms of waterways and airways, because China is being a bit aggressive in this part of the world. Apart from that, we know Doklam has just got over, and China has a sort of ongoing issue with Japan regarding two islands in Sea of Japan. Then the other important thing is when we talk about region or global issues or regional issues, then one of the most beautiful thing that you can see is that both nations, right, when it comes to regional or global issues, there are no sort of disagreement between these two countries. And if you have such a good frame, then you can take these relations to any height you like. It basically, you can say that sky is the limit when it comes to India and Japan, because they have no disagreement at all between each other. They do take part in trilateral exercise, military exercise that takes place between India, Japan, USA, and India, Japan, Australia. We are going to give BrahMos to them. We are going to get amphibian aircraft from them. This will help us in keeping the Indian Ocean neat and clean from any sort of threats. Amphibian vehicles or aircrafts are basically, they can land on water as well, so that's why they are called amphibian. We are going to get some other technologies from them as well. Now the trade, we are not at its potential at present. We can improve a lot from it. We have giants of Japan working in our country for the longest time. They are investing, they are flourishing as well, but the need of the hour is we have to attract small and medium companies of Japan as well. For that, government is trying its level best. We have a special desk in Prime Minister's office for Japan, and this is predominantly targeting small and medium companies of Japan so that they can come here and invest. The other thing is that they are going to help us in Clean Ganga along shipbuilding yard. Earlier it was famous for ship breaking, but now we are going to build ships as well in Alang. It is basically located in Gujarat. Bullet trains, we have talked about it, so I'm not going into the details of bullet train, but the thing is, bullet train is a sort of indication. It is a sort of signal from Japanese government to the Japanese investors back in Japan that, see, we are investing in India, the amount is huge, and this indicates that it is safe to invest in India. In India, you will find cordial people, you will find friendly people, business environment is good in India. So see, we as a government are investing, so you can follow us as well. So this is one of the best thing that you can say from, or we can take away from bullet train. We need to improve people to people contact. We can do all sort of things, but if there is no bonding between these two people, then we are not going to reach its potential when we talk about relations between India and Japan. So we have to promote religious tourism. Japanese people are well famous around the world for tourism. They are ranked 1 as per a survey. They could be 1 or 2, but they are people who travel a lot around the world. So India could be a good place for them. Our students can go there and learn all this technical education, engineering and design and all these things, and their students can come here and learn arts and other things, culture, and these are the things that are quite famous in our country. This could be the reason why Sabarmati Ashram and Dandi Kutir was covered in the visit of Mr. Abe. Then coming to ASEAN, we were talking about Cambodia. I told you how Cambodia is inclining, or it is going ahead or developing relation with China, and it is moving away from USA. And this is one of the strategy of China to destroy, or you can say that to create caveats in ASEAN, and which is not good for India and Japan, because both these countries are supporting ASEAN. It is beneficial for both the countries, it is beneficial for the whole region, it is beneficial for the South China Sea as well. So we have to counter this thing of China, right? We have to protect ASEAN together, and this was highlighted in the statements. We have talked about UNCLOS, we have talked about freedom of navigation, respecting sovereignty. We have nuclear pact with each other, science and technological area, bone marrow and sickle cell anemia. These are the things that are on which agreements have been done. Open sky agreement took place. That means airlines can operate unlimited flights between these two countries. And Asia Africa growth corridor, most important thing. You will find a sort of question in mains examination regarding this thing. And basically, in very brief, I can say that it is a marriage between Indian human resources and Japanese technology, and this is going to be implemented, or this synergy is going to be utilized in Asia Africa growth corridor. It is sort of alternative vision of development. When I say alternative, I'm talking about China's OBOR. Both nations are for respecting sovereignty of the nations, particularly the poor nations and the underdeveloped nations of Africa. The decisions that will be taken about any project will be owned, and the decisions will be taken by the government of that particular country and not by India and Japan. This is a sort of democratic development, and there won't be any sort of debt trap, that the things that is happening with Chinese OBOR. With this, dear friends, we end this discussion here. Do not forget to order your pen drive and tablet courses from this number or from our website. You can download this lecture from our website or Telegram channel. Do not forget to subscribe, share, like and comment. Do pass me your valuable comment. Do share this lecture with your friends and family. With this, I end this discussion here. I will see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. Take care. Jai Hind.